Hi everybody, happy Monday. We are Chris and Steve with EatWalkLearn. Once again, we're glad you're here. We have a brand new subscribe video. So subscribe, the little thingy going on over there, because we're so proud of our graphics. We're getting our video skills, we're getting so good. Where are we?
Where are we? We're still in Dublin. Are we always going to be in Dublin? I don't know.
It does feel like we're coming up on 2 months in Dublin, but that is soon to change. So this week, not only have we been here 2 months, but I think this is my 5th trip to Dublin. What number is it for you?
It's just my third time.
Yeah. So we've been to Dublin many times, and we'll be back many times because we have a reason to come back. Which we'll talk about in another video. But we've been here a lot, and so it's very easy for us to put together a top 10 list of things to do in Dublin, and we're going to run through that. But what we're going to talk about today is the top 10 unusual things to Dublin after you've done the top 10 list that everybody else has put together. So if you go to any of the websites, you'll see the following items on the top 10 list. Are you ready? Go.
Yeah, go. Guinness Storehouse. You got to get a Guinness and see how it's made.
The Dublin Castle.
The spire in the middle of the city.
The Temple Bar, which actually is a bar and also an area.
The Oscar Wilde statue
in Marion Square. Yeah. The Book of Kells and the Long Library, of course, at Trinity University.
The Jameson Whiskey Distillery.
The Kilimanjaro.
And the National Gallery of Art.
Now, these are it's a very short list. Those are probably a top 10. You'll see them anywhere. Go do all those things. They're wonderful. Absolutely knock them out. But now we're going to talk about what you're really interested in, especially if it's your second or more trip to Dublin. And that's our 10 unusual things to do in Dublin.
And if you're an LP fan, I call it the deep tracks.
The deep tracks of Dublin. Okay, so number 1 is the Botanic Gardens. Absolutely the best Botanic Gardens I've ever been to. They are total underrated. You got to hop on the bus, get there. There's, I don't know how much square footage of under glass houses at the National Garden, and then or Botanic Gardens, and then there's roses and statues and water features. The dahlias were blooming the other day I was there. One of the best Botanic Gardens I've ever been to, and giant, absolutely giant. Number 2.
Yeah, number 2. You need to check out Grafton Street, which is a huge pedestrian mall right down through the middle of Dublin. Everybody goes there, but really spend some time there to appreciate the shops, appreciate people watching, which is one of my favorite things to do, and also the music and entertainment that is all up and down the street, and it's always changing. And it's just so nice to really see some really great talent on Grafton Street. You can spend a whole day there if you wanted to. But then get yourself a picnic lunch and go to St. Stephen's Green, which is at the south end of Grafton Street, and enjoy the park, St. Stephen's Park. And also all around the history of the park is around the edge of the park is the history of Irish independence. So there's a lot to learn, and a great place to just enjoy the day.
And if you're a military buff, you can see the military positions and things of the takeovers of the different buildings. So it's you don't have to be a military buff, but it's really interesting to see that history in action. Number 3, the National Gallery of Art and the IMA Museum, which is the Modern Art Museum, they both have workshops going all the time, and they're usually free. We did architectural line drawing, we did yoga and art, we did craft paper making, we did Irish Artist Appreciation Tour. Absolutely some of the best museums we've been in, and really, really great events. So check their websites for those things. Great to do if you're on your own, if you're with a couple, or with family. So it's all around great things to do at both the National Gallery of Art and the IMA, International Museum of Modern, or Ireland Museum of Modern Art. Number 4.
Yeah, check out the Irish Jewish Museum. It's a small museum. It's fairly close to the center of town, but it's more in the neighborhood that was historically populated by Jewish people. And the downstairs has a wonderful collection kind of cataloging the history of Jewish people in Dublin and in Ireland. Also talks about Chaim Herzog, who was the president of Israel in the 80s, was Irish, and really does a great job.
And his son is now president of Ireland too. I mean, of
No.
Israel. No?
I don't think so.
Okay, I think I have that right.
Okay.
We'll Google it later.
But anyways, it really does a good job of talking about the history. And then upstairs is the synagogue, is the old synagogue. It's no longer used, but it's really a great way to really appreciate the Jewish culture in Ireland and in Dublin.
Number 5. Oh, and didn't he say there's like only 200 Irish people left in Dublin, right? Something like that? A really tiny number. So really interesting. Okay, number 5. Something we know absolutely nothing about. Nothing. And so we thought, oh, this looks interesting. We'll go do it. We went to tour the Freemason Hall, one of the oldest Freemason halls in the world, learned all about Freemason history, the Irish, English, and Scottish, right? History of Freemasonry.
We learned some secrets.
And we learned some secrets. We learned what blackballing came from. And just one of those, like, we would never do this ever because we're not Masons. We know nothing about Freemasonry, but we learned a lot going to the Freemason Hall. And the free tours every Thursday or something. Check the website. Or no, it was €5. €5 to go.
Yeah.
Nothing. And we went and really enjoyed ourselves and learned more than we probably ever learned on any other tour because we knew nothing about it.
Right.
Number 6.
Yeah, so this is going to be a little bit different than what we've been talking about, but explore some of the small towns that are along the coast, just outside on the edge of Dublin. Howth is one of them. That's just on the north end of town, and there's some beautiful walks there that we'll talk about in our hiking video. But also there's Bray, there's Greystone. There are a number of towns and communities right along the coast with beautiful views of the ocean and beaches,
the Irish Sea,
and great things to do in these communities. You can just really enjoy the whole day out there in any one of them, and they're really easy to get to. So we've typically just been using public transportation here. The bus and the train, it's super easy to get to.
Yeah, just jump on the Dart for like $2.50, €2.50.
And you can get to all of these communities up and down the coast.
Okay, I think we're on 7. Phoenix Park. This is the largest walled park in the world. Couldn't believe the amazing park. There's a herd of deer there. The oldest cricket club and the oldest polo club, both are Irish, are housed in the park. The River Liffey runs through the park. The park kind of straddles both sides. The Irish president lives there. The American ambassador lives there. What else?
Yeah,
just a giant
park. It's just beautiful, massive. It's just giant.
Get a bike, go for a bike ride, go for a hike, whatever. And we're going to talk about that actually in our hiking video, which is coming next week. But Phoenix Park, definitely put it on your list. Largest walled park in the world.
Right.
Number 7.5.
So the River Liffey runs right down through the middle of Dublin, cutting it from the north and the south. And there are a number of bridges across the river, and it's just a really beautiful place to go at night. So there's a lot of, the bridges are lit up, the river's lit up, and just to walk along at night and just feel like the ambiance. It's just really a romantic place. And a lot of people don't think about Dublin as being a romantic city, but this is the one thing that you can do and really feel the kind of, I don't know if there's a comparison to Paris or just, it's just to be at night along River Liffey in Dublin is just a magical thing.
And we felt really safe walking anywhere in Dublin. Don't have to worry at all about nighttime safety and so on. Just be smart as you would walking anywhere at night in any city, but in particular no problems in Dublin. And we got to see the Hart Bridge, which was really, really cool. The Samuel Clements Bridge, I think is officially what it's called. Number 9. I think we skipped 8 or something, but anyway, we can't count. The Dead Zoo. The locals call it the Dead Zoo. It's also called the Natural History Museum. It's also part of the National Gallery, and it just reopened. It's been closed for 3 or 4 years at least, and only the bottom floor is open. You have to get a time to go in, but it is the Victorian perspective of what taxidermy should look like, and from the turn of the century. This museum was actually opened by, who did I tell you it was opened by the other day?
I don't remember.
Darwin actually was the opening speaker when the museum opened. They haven't changed anything in it since then. And it's really fascinating. There's even the skeleton of a dodo in there. You have to ask to see it, but some of the Irish deer are there. And what I've absolutely loved that I've been telling Stephen Kelly about for a decade is that they, in order to show the single cell amoebas and the smaller animals, they did them in blown glass back in 19 whatever, 18 whatever, from the Victorian age. And so on the screen here, I'm showing you just the blown glass handcrafts of the creepy crawlies and the single cell amoebas and so on that are exhibited in the museum. So if you're a blown glass lover, just go for that. I mean, being a vegan, it's kind of hard to see dead animals everywhere, but it is really a fascinating museum and worth it for the whole family. And number 10.
Last but not least is the Hugh Lane Gallery. So there are a number of art museums. You definitely need to
And they're all
to
free.
Go to them.
All the national ones are free.
All the museums are free, and this one is also free, but it's a little bit unique, and it's got a couple of pieces from Monet. It's got pieces from John Yates, who was W.B. Yeats, the poet's father, who was an artist. And it also has I'm going to get this right, the Francis Bacon, who was an Irish-born artist. When he died, they took his art studio and piece by piece cataloged it, and moved it exactly as the way it was, and recreated it, I guess, inside this museum. And it's incredible because you look at it and go like, oh my God.
They even cataloged the dust. They cataloged the dust in it.
It's insane, but it's great to see how Francis Bacon, actually his studio, how it existed exactly the way it was when he was an artist.
So that's our 9.75 or 11 3/4 list of the top 10 unusual things you should do in Dublin. Are you coming to Dublin? If not, you absolutely need to put it on your list. And what are the things that you would want to do in Dublin? Of course, we do the top 10, of course, but we want to know what's not on the top 10 that you're going to do, or what's on our list that you can't wait to go do. Tell us, give us some feedback. Subscribe, please. We're trying to get to 600 this week. We're going to be YouTube stars.
Thumbs up, subscribe.
And we'll see you guys next week.